All right, shalom, Most High and Christ bless. Thank y'all for tuning in. We are in the midst of a very festive celebration, destruction of Nicanor. We're going to go over it, a little brief description of it, go over the scriptures. Destruction of Nicanor. So you brothers and sisters, make sure you are taking notes. Make sure you have a 1611 King James Bible, okay? Also, be very, very, serious about the Most High's feast days.
Right.
We were just talking about it. It's like the Most High gave so much great victories and a lot of different things to our people, and our people reverence these things.
Right.
It's like, okay, so why aren't we doing it today? But you see our people reverencing Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween, New Year's, all right, Valentine's Day,
big time,
Earth Day. You got all these days people reverencing.
Right.
Why are you not reverencing the Most High's days that he did for his people, Israel? It's primarily because you don't understand that the so-called blacks and so-called Hispanic natives whose fathers are of Negroid and Indian descent are the biblical Israelites scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, primarily North, Central, and South America. Okay? We were taken and ceased into captivity, and we ceased from our heritage. So make sure you are cognizant when the next time somebody bring you over a holiday ham, reject them. The next time somebody come up and say, hey, let's pop fireworks for 4th of July, reject them. Because you should ask them the question, why are we not celebrating God's feast days in the Bible?
Exactly.
Think about it. Let's open up with Job chapter 8 and verse 20. Job chapter 8 and verse 20.
Shalom, Most High Christ bless everybody. Happy destruction of Nicanor. So the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 20. Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man.
God will not cast away a perfect man. What makes a man perfect? What makes a man in the eyesight of the Most High perfect? Keeping commandments in the faith of Christ. Just as Christ delivered him. Was not Christ perfect? All right, then. And he kept the Most High's commandments.
Exactly.
All right? 100%. With no guile. And we are commanded to follow his steps. So if you are following Christ, then guess what? You could be marked as a perfect man. Okay? God will not cast away a perfect man. Come on.
Neither will he help the evildoers.
Neither will he help the evildoers. You got people, I seen a picture came across, you know how they on social media, they always pictures, sharing pictures and everything.
Right.
A picture came across. It's this lady. She got, maybe she might be, like, she had to be double D's.
Good gracious.
Breasts just hanging out, cleavage and everything. But yet she got a chain with a cross slit into her chest. Put in the comment boards. Is that righteous? Does that even make sense? You got your breast hoist up, and you got a cross tucked into the cleavage of your breast. I've seen other pictures where ladies got, praying hands on their chest.
Right.
Same thing with brothers. I mean, I don't know how you, in your mind, perceive a way that you think you're living towards God, but it's not according to as it is written, not scripturally sound. God will not cast away a perfect man. Neither will he help the evildoers. All right. So we're going to see, because this played out in, the Maccabees. All right. Within the great victories of what happened. So let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 14. And we're going to start at verse 3. First, we got to understand the dynamic. We're going to talk about Elsamus for a minute.
Right. This is our true history. Forget you got Black History Month. But we should always have Israelite History Month.
Exactly. People do. I'm glad you said that. People are celebrating Black History Month, not realizing this is our history right here.
Right.
It's about a nation. Okay, you isolating Black History Month. We had a conversation on that. All right, is being a black person a problem? And everybody understood that. All right.
You know what's pretty ironic about that? They give us the coldest and shortest month of the year. Now they know we're supposed to be tropical people, right? They say, you know what? We're gonna give them the coldest and the short. We want this thing to be quick.
Yeah, get them out the way quick. It says when brothers go into the scriptures and it says, like it'll say, I am black and comely.
Right.
So people will ask about that. But when you look at that word, that word is shaka war. Okay, showing you in a sense to be down, to be grief stricken, to be dusty, to be in a blackened state. All right, the word is shaka war. But a lot of times our people don't realize the state of how the Most High put it. Yeah, if you look us as black, it's something derogatory.
Big time.
2 Maccabees, chapter 14. Let's start at verse 3.
Okay, the book of 2 Maccabees. Chapter 14 and verse 3. Now one Alcimus, who had been high priest and had defiled himself willfully in the times of their mingling with the Gentiles.
In the times of their mingling with the Gentiles. This should let y'all know, this is right before Christ hit the scene. Why would it then be a problem to mingle with the Gentiles right here, and then all of a sudden God say, all right, well, let all Gentiles come in. This Gentiles here shows you that there is a stark difference. Mingling with the Gentiles. It's not good, folks. Come on.
Seeing that by no means he could save himself.
Come on.
Nor have any more access to the holy altar.
Come on.
Came to King Demetrius in the 150th year, presenting unto him a crown of gold.
So 150 years, give or take, before Christ hit the scene. Come on.
And a palm, and also of the bowls which were used solemnly in the temple. And so that day he held his peace. Howbeit, having gotten opportunity to further his foolish enterprise, and being called into council by Demetrius, and asked how the Jews stood affected and what they intended.
Sound familiar? Then we go over the Judas effect. We went over Judas before.
Right.
This is now a high priest. Why he consulting with everybody? What is he up to? Pay attention, y'all.
It's an agenda.
It's an agenda.
He answered thereunto, those of the Jews that be called the Assyrians, who captain is Judas Maccabeus.
So it's called the Assyrians. The Assyrians is known as also, when you move forward into time of Christ, the Pharisees. Okay, put that in your notes. This would be the Pharisees. They're a political sect right here. Watch this. Come on.
Nourish war and are seditious, and would not let the realm be in peace.
Will not let the realm be in peace. So they were fighting. Now, if you look that word up, if y'all Google that word, Assyrians, you will see it's going to tell you it was a political sect. Okay? Come on.
Verse 7. Therefore I, being derived of mine ancestors. Honor, I mean the high priesthood, am now come hither. First, verily, for the unfeigned care I have of things pertaining to the king. And secondly, even for that I intend the good of mine own countrymen. For all our nation is in no small misery through the unadvised dealing of them aforesaid. Verse 9. Wherefore, O king, seeing thou knowest all these things, be careful for the country and our nation, which is pressed on every side, according to the clemency that thou readily showeth unto all. For as long as Judas liveth, it is not possible that the state should be quiet.
What? So he should be happy about Judas.
Right.
But what is he doing, y'all? What did you see? What do y'all see that is happening? When you start to fight for righteousness, you always gonna have somebody evil step up, and it be of our own nation, it be of our own people.
Yep.
Come on.
Verse 11. This was no sooner spoken of him, but others of the king's friends, being maliciously set against Judas, did more incense Demetrius.
They entice him more because they was malicious. They wanted him dead. All right, come on.
Verse 12. And forthwith calling Nicanor, who had been master of the elephants, and making him governor over Judea.
So he was master of the elephants. And they used a lot of elephants for war, especially in the ancient times. These was not elephants that you go pet at the zoo. All right? They were trained elephants to do damage. Those elephants will be let loose on one end to push the cavalry, the armies, to one side, and they would be used strategically. All right? You read about a lot of warlords used elephants. Hannibal, all right? Persimmons Niger. You read about them, okay? Using elephants to sway the war, meaning to push the war to one side where they can have their advantage, okay? Come on.
He sent him forth, commanding him to slay Judas and to scatter them that were with him, and to make Alcimus high priest of the great temple.
So it's now they done cooked up a scheme,
Right.
to make him the high priest, wanting preeminence
All day.
Come on.
Verse 14. Then the heathen that had fled out of Judea from Judas came to Nicanor by flocks, thinking the harm and calamities of the Jews to be their welfare.
So that's also, now you have to realize something. When you are supposed to understand this truth and you run to the heathens, you run outside of this, you are actually being, that's another word, an Alcimus.
Yep.
Because we gotta ask yourself a question. Why would people do that? The heathen already know. We want to live how we want to live in this area, and Judas and the whole rest of the gang are fighting us, and we can't beat them. Watch this. Come on.
Verse 15. Now when the Jews heard of Nicanor's coming, and that the heathen were up against them, they cast earth upon their heads.
Come on.
And made supplication to him that had established his people forever.
Meaning the Most High. They are now sending up prayers. Supplication, fastings is going on. All kind of things is happening. Come on.
And who was always helped his portion with manifestation of his presence.
With manifestation of his presence. Highlight that. That right there is a higher topic. With manifestation of his presence. We haven't hit this yet, but when we did do it a long time ago, but they erased our video. But the thing is, we'll show you all throughout this whole book where the Lord manifests himself. And it's so subtle, it's so slight that you will miss it just reading it. But you know about the big times when he met Joshua, and Moses, and different Elijah. There's other subtle manifestations where the Lord was there. and you will miss it if you don't be careful. Come on.
Verse 16. So, at the commandment of the captain, they removed straightways from thence, and came near unto them at the town of Desau.
Come on.
Now Simon, Judas' brother, had joined battle with Nicanor, but was somewhat discomfited through the sudden silence of his enemies.
Come on.
Nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing of the manliness of them that were with Judas, and the courageousness that they had to fight for their country, durst not try the matter by the sword.
When we read down in this, you're gonna understand manliness as we continue to read down. But because of the manliness, this is where, even in Maccabean, we love it because it's like the men start to return. You brothers, man, we keep saying it over and over again. The Israelite man, he stands for something way different. We don't have to run after women.
Yep.
Stop lusting after these women. Just stop. All right. If you are an Israelite man, you can't contain. You go find one pig. Grab a wife. You understand what you're doing. But to be lusting after women and gossiping like women and being emotional and all that other stuff, get out of here, man. The Israelite man is not like that.
Exactly.
All right. You've been conditioned and taught that by watching too many movies and being laid up. Trying to lay up underneath women. Just be honest with you. All right. Leave it alone. It's time we're in wartime right now. All right. And if you understand that, then we have a mechanism inside of us, a switch. Turn up for the Most High. Show your manliness to stand true and stand firm on the scriptures. The end. There ain't nothing else left.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 19. Wherefore he sent Posidonius and Theototus and Mattathias
Come on.
to make peace. So when they had taken long advisement thereupon, and the captain had made the multitude acquainted therewith, and it appeared that they were all of one mind, they consented to the covenants.
Come on.
And appointed a day to meet in together by themselves. And when the day came, and stools were set for either of them, Judas placed armed men ready in convenient places, lest some treachery should be suddenly practiced by the enemies. So they made a peaceable conference.
So he not stupid. He not stupid. This is a man of war, a man of the Lord.
Right.
Come on.
Verse 23. Now Nicanor abode in Jerusalem, and did no hurt, but sent away the people that came flocking into him.
Come on.
And he would not willingly have Judas out of his sight, for he loved the man from his heart.
When we love the man from his heart. Pay attention, y'all. This is why we always say, what does love have to do with anything?
Right.
Like an emotional attachment. What does that got to do? Pay attention. Come on.
Verse 25. He prayed him also to take a wife and to beget children. So he married, was quiet, and took part of this life.
Right. That's what they want. Get the house, the white picket fence, and shut up. Stop complaining about our wickedness. Come on.
Verse 26. But Alcimus, perceiving the love that was betwixt them, and considering the covenants that were made, came to Demetrius and told him that Nicanor was not well affected toward the state, for that he had ordained Judas a traitor to his realm to be the king's successor.
So now he fabricating.
Right.
So y'all got to understand the wickedness. Remember we saw the interview where they were saying from the Black Panthers where they were going, they trying to kill you.
Right.
This is the treachery that people will go to for power and because of hatred. Watch this. Come on.
Verse 27. Then the king, being in a rage and provoked with the accusations of the most wicked man, wrote to Nicanor, signifying that he was made displeased with the covenants.
He was much displeased with the covenants. Come on.
And commanded him that he should send Maccabeus, prisoner, in all haste unto Antioch.
So he wanted to go to Antioch. What's crazy is you got churches calling themselves Church of
Right,
Antioch.
right, which is crazy.
You saying you're a Church of Antiochus.
Ain't that the truth?
Even though they know they talking about the area,
Right.
but it was named after them.
After a wicked root.
But now, because of that camaraderie of warlords, the king is like, we can't have them linking up. let's put an end to this. So watch, read on.
Verse 28. When this came to Nicanor's hearing, he was much confounded in himself, and took it grievously that he should make void the articles which were agreed upon, the man being in no fault. But because there was no dealing against the king, he watched his time to accomplish this thing by policy.
By policy. That's how they do politics. By policy. It's not in our policy. Every time something is wrong and they don't want to give you something, they fall back on it's not in the policy. We the only ones don't stick to our policy.
Exactly.
The laws,
Right.
the Bible.
Right.
Come on.
Verse 30. Notwithstanding, when Maccabeus saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont, perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men, and withdrew himself from Nicanor.
So I thought Nicanor loved him. So what type of love was this? What type of love? It said he loved him, but then all of a sudden he's so easily to flip the switch. All right? Remember, the words of this man is always smooth as butter, but war is in his heart. Come on.
He loved it. He loved the fact that Judas was a mighty man.
Yeah.
And he envied that. Verse 31. But the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas' policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that were offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him the man.
Come on.
And when they swear that they could not tell where the man was whom he sought, he stretched out his right hand toward the temple and made an oath in this manner.
Highlight this. Now Nicanor going to stretch out his right hand and make an oath.
Whew.
Come on.
If ye were not delivering me Judas as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground.
Oh, he talking real high power.
Ooh-wee.
He talking real high power. He going to lay the temple down. Now remember, Judas and them had already they already been known now. So he's talking real reckless, saying that he's going to lay this temple down to the ground, even to the ground. That's what their whole motive was, even previous.
Yep.
All right? You read that even in Psalms 137. But watch this. Come on.
And I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus.
He said he's going to put up a temple, an idol temple. All right, come on.
Okay. Verse 34.
I hope y'all highlighted he took his right hand and made an oath. Come on.
Verse 34. After these words he departed. Then the priests lifted up their hands toward heaven and besought him that was ever a defender of their nation.
Ever a defender of their nation. You know who a defender. The Most High will defend. Come on.
Saying in this manner, Thou, O Lord, of all things.
Of all things. Come on.
Who has need of nothing.
Come on.
Was pleased that the temple of thine habitation should be among us.
Come on.
Therefore now, O holy Lord, of all holiness, keep this house ever undefiled.
Come on.
Which lately was cleansed, and stop every unrighteous mouth.
To stop every unrighteous mouth. So y'all got to think about something for a second. The temple now translates to us. So if the ability for a worldly temple to be defended and every mouth stopped, don't you understand that ability transfers to you?
Yep.
Nothing can rise up against you. You just have to understand that you are the temple and that you have to cleanse yourself. First, it starts in the mind. All right? Then you got to also understand, oh, I'm going to start the operations of cleanliness, meaning following Christ, keeping commandments. Come on.
Verse 37. Now was there accused unto Nicanor, one Razis, one of the elders of Jerusalem.
So Nicanor came to Razis, one of the elders of Jerusalem. Come on.
A lover of his countrymen, and a man of very good report.
Lover of the brethren, of his countrymen. He loved Israel. Come on.
Who for his kindness was called a father of the Jews.
A father of the Jews for his kindness. You're not called, ain't nobody calling you father of nothing if you ain't in that manner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was well respected. Come on.
Verse 38. For in the former times, when they mingled not themselves with the Gentiles.
Come on.
He had been accused of Judaism.
You see that? That's why we are not in Judaism.
Right.
But you got to realize something. He had been accused of Judaism. Come on.
And did boldly jeopard his body and life with all vehemency for the religion of the Jews.
So you see, this is where they start with that religious madness and the ideologies. Judaism. We are not in no Judaism. How you gonna take a man and make a religion after him? Right. It don't make any sense.
Right.
He telling you up above, this man's a lover of the brethren, a lover of the countrymen, well respected, manly. Come on.
Verse 39. So Nicanor, willing to declare the hate that he bare unto the Jews, sent above 500 men of war to take him, for he thought by taking him to do the Jews much hurt. Now when the multitude would have taken the tower and violently broken into the outer door, and bade that fire should be brought to burn it, he being ready to be taken on every side fell upon his sword.
We don't have that recollection for us right now. But if you was in the ancient times to see 500 men marching to war, and they're coming directly at your city, and you may not even have 500 men, and they're coming directly to kill, and you are not a coward, and you don't want to run, what you're saying is you're preparing to meet your maker.
Exactly.
Or you need divine intervention. So he ain't running. They say he fell on his sword. He like, instead of y'all doing something, I'm doing it. Watch this, come on.
Verse 42. Choosing rather to die manfully.
Choosing rather to die manfully, come on.
Than to come into the hands of the wicked.
Come on.
To be abused otherwise than beseemed his noble birth.
Than to be seen of his noble birth. So he like, I'd rather check out of here. Remember, Saul did that too.
You better believe it.
Come on.
But missing his stroke through haste.
Come on.
The multitude also rushing within the doors.
Come on.
He ran boldly up to the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them.
So imagine he up at top, they bust in, he tries to stab himself, but didn't really fully accomplish the job. So now he runs manfully and dives into the crowd from above. Can you imagine that? Come on.
Verse 44. But they quickly giving back, and a space being made, he fell down in the midst of the void place.
So this brother, they moved out of they seen him jump down. They moved out of the way like, what is he doing? Now he hits the ground. Gosh. That would seem like an epic fail right there.
Hey,
somebody jumping into the crowd for like a concert.
Like one of those mosh
pits or whatever, and they move out the way. That's what it seemed like what happened to this brother.
Right.
But let's see what happens. Come on.
Verse 45. Nevertheless, while there was yet breath within him, being inflamed with anger,
come on,
he rose up And though his blood gushing out like spouts of water.
His blood is gushing out like spouts of water. Come on.
And his wounds were grievous.
Wounds very grievous. Come on.
Yet he ran through the midst of the throng.
Come on.
And standing upon a steep rock.
And stood upon. So he ran. He's about to check out. So he ran amongst everybody and now standing on. And let's see what he does. Come on.
When, as his blood was now quite gone.
Come on.
He plucked out his bowels.
He pulled out his bowels. Come on.
And taking them in both hands, he cast them upon the throne and calling upon the Lord of life.
Woo, come on.
And spirit to restore him those again he thus died.
So he called upon the Lord of life. You know he called upon Christ.
Yes.
This man has some type of different spirit on him to pull his bowels out and throw it at him.
You don't think this man gonna be a part of 144,000?
I don't see how.
I don't see how he couldn't be.
He's nominated in my book.
Yes.
Like, he got the job.
So a brother in this time to say, I'm gonna be a part. You go to camp every Saturday, but this brother got his guts coming out. Literally have guts.
Literally pulled them joints out and threw it at, the enemy.
Yes.
It's a different spirit on him. It's a different spirit on him. That's why he said that. All right. Y'all gotta understand that wholeheartedly.
The whole mentality, man. He's in pain. This man's in excruciating pain. He's so like charged up. He don't care. You gotta meet this brother.
Tell me about it. Let's go to First Maccabees.
Okay.
Let's get some context of what's going on now. Mm-hmm. Now you see the high level wickedness is going on with Elsamus and Nicanor and how they tricking people. First Maccabees 7, and let's start at verse 1.
Okay. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 1. And the 151st year.
Sound familiar? We read that before. Mm-hmm. So for y'all that's reading the Maccabees, if you read everything through like a novel, you can, but you need to understand the Bible is precept. So that's why you go through different spots. So now we go to First Maccabees chapter 7, and we're reading verse 1, and you're going to see how it all pans out. Mm-hmm. Come on.
In the 151st year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome, and came up with a few men into a city of the seacoast, and reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysidius to bring them unto him. Wherefore, when he knew it, he said, Let me not see their faces. So his host slew them. Now when Demetrius was set up upon the throne of his kingdom, there came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel.
Come on.
Having Alcimus, who was desirous to be high priest.
Showing you the same thing. That's why we started with 2 Maccabees 14 to kind of give you the brief synopsis. Mm-hmm. Now you're seeing how wicked things is going. Come on.
For their captain. And they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of our own land. Now therefore, send some man whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he have made among us and in the king's land. And let him punish them with all them that aid them. Then the king chose Bacchus, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood, and was a great man in the kingdom and faithful to the king. And him he sent with that wicked Alcimus, whom he made high priest, and commanded he should take vengeance of the children of Israel. So they departed, and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully.
So sound familiar, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Peaceable words deceitfully. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is how you brothers and sisters got to realize. When somebody is wicked, they're not going to try to display it right there in the open to you. That's why people are known by their conversations. Mm-hmm. All right? You got to be known by doing the commandments, not just being a person who know you Israel.
Right.
Come on.
Verse 11. But they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they were come with a great power. Then did there assemble into Alcimus and Bacchatus, a company of scribes to require justice.
So a company of scribes to acquire justice. Watch this, scribes. Come on, highlight that.
Verse 13. Now the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them.
That sought peace. So the Assyrians, known as the Pharisees, that's why when you move forward, you have Pharisees, scribes. You're reading about this same setup right here. I hope y'all taking notes.
Yep.
You have scribes, you have Pharisees, and out of that sect right there of the separated ones, you get Sadducees. All right? They had different ideologies, different political goals. These folks, the Pharisees, want to be with the Romans. The Sadducees wanted to be with the Greeks.
Same thing with the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yep.
Same thing. You're still dealing with the same ideology back then, the same way how people choose sides.
Yep. Instead of choosing the Most High,
right?
You worrying about choosing sides instead of just choosing the Most High.
Exactly.
Come on.
Verse 14. For said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with his army, and he would do us no wrong.
Come on.
So he spake unto them peaceably.
Oh, this also let y'all know that they knew who Israel were. Israel wasn't just, we don't have any more priests of Aaron or whatever the case may be. It lingered on all the way into the time of 70 AD. Come on.
First Maccabees, chapter 7, verse 15. So he spake unto them peaceably, and sware unto them, saying, We will procure the harm neither of you nor your friends. Whereupon they believed him. Howbeit he took of them 70 men, and slew them in one day.
In one day, come on.
According to the words which he wrote.
Come on.
The flesh of thy saints.
According to the words of the Most High, this was gonna happen. Watch this. The what?
The flesh of thy saints.
Come on.
Have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them.
And there was none to bury. Go to Psalms 79 and verse 3. And this is also written by Jeremiah. I think it's Jeremiah 14.
Yeah.
But let's find out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 79 and verse 3. Their blood have they shed like water round about Jerusalem. And there was none to bury them.
And there was none to bury them.
Wow.
You got to understand that. Go to one in Jeremiah. I think it's the one in Jeremiah too. Jeremiah 14. And I think it's 15 or 16. 14.
So you say Jeremiah 14.
14. Yeah. Start at verse 14. I think the point, you can read verse 16.
Okay, you want to go 14, 16?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 14 verse 16. And the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them, their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters, for I will pour their wickedness upon them.
See that? You see that? This shows you. Now listen, y'all, this is in, the 500 BCs. This now is you show the pattern of this happening. It happened more than one time.
Right.
But this shows you even in the Maccabees, it happened to our people then. So all of these captivities, this has happened to our people. Even this last captivity of the Americas.
Yep.
All right? They still have certain lands that you can't even build upon because they didn't bury them out here.
They did it in the time of the slave trade here because what happened, especially during the rebellion of Nat Turner, they wouldn't bury. They would have your flesh hanging on trees.
Listen, we went where they discovered Nat Turner's body.
Yep.
His body. We stood right there on his grave. They put a street over this man's grave.
And they take his skull every year, and they drank out of it.
Yep. They took his skull. Look, people think we making this stuff up.
Right.
But the curator himself, he said, listen, I'm going to take y'all to the spot.
Yep.
Off camera, we asked him. I said, listen, we heard that his skull wasn't on here. Mm-hmm. He said, that's true. He said, we didn't want to disturb any of the remains, but so they put this road over them, and they had to bend the road. So when you look straight ahead, the road is curved. I stood right there. I picked the flower off of it. I'm like, man, they got his Bible, got his sword. All right. So you got to ask yourself a question. In all of these captivities, the scriptures is holding true. That's why somebody that go, oh, this already happened. Yes, on some, but most scriptures in this book is twofold prophecies.
Yes, it is.
All right,
yes, sir.
Let's go back.
Okay. So, First Maccabees,
chapter 7 and verse 17.
Okay, chapter 7 and verse 17. The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them. Wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, there is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and oath that they made.
Come on.
After this removed Bacchides from Jerusalem, and pitched his tents in Bezeth, where he sent and took many of men that had forsaken him, and certain of the people also. When they had slain them, he cast them into the great pit. Then committed he the country to Alcimus, and left with them a power to aid him. So Bacchides went to the king, but Alcimus contended for the high priesthood.
That's what he wanted.
Want that status.
Come on.
Verse 22. And unto them, you know what this also shows you too? How these pastors they want to be a part of the political system too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
To try to get high status.
High status.
You're right.
Yep. Verse 22. And unto him resorted all such as troubled the people, who after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel.
Come on.
Now when Judas saw all the mischief that Alcimus and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen.
You supposed to be our own nation.
Right.
You doing more than even the heathen. That goes to show you today.
Yes, sir.
Out of all the things that's being done, the most now hated and heated things is happening by our own people.
Yep.
Come on.
Verse 24. He went out into all the coasts of Judea round about, and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him, so that they durst no more go forth into the country. On the other side, when Alcimus saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand, and knew that he was not able to abide their force, he went again to the king, and said all the worst of them that he could.
We know what he did because we read it earlier. How he was saying about him trying to take his realm. All right, y'all understand that. Come on.
Verse 26. Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that's going to bear deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force, and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between me and you. I will come with a few men, that I may see you in peace.
We heard that. Jump down to verse 33.
Verse 33. After this went Nicanor up to Mount Zion, and there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably.
Peaceably, come on.
And to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king. But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly.
So y'all have to realize something. Doing things for the other nations. Just like you're like, okay, well, we're going to show that we are, trying to be peaceable and everything. At some point, that doesn't make any difference.
Nope.
Only peace you have to make is with the Most High. Live how he said to live.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Verse 35. And swear in his wrath, saying, unless Judas and his host be now delivered into my hands, if ever I come again in safety, I will burn up this house. And with that he went out in a great rage. Then the priest entered in and stood before the altar and the temple, weeping and saying, Thou, O Lord, didst choose this house to be called by thy name, and to be a house of prayer and petition for thy people. Be avenged of this man and his host, and let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies, and suffer them not to continue any longer.
Remember Nicanor raised his right hand, vowing that he was gonna making an oath that he was gonna burn the temple and lay it even to the ground.
Now our forefathers are praying for the destruction of the heathen. Why we all of a sudden, let's just pray for our enemies?
They don't understand.
They don't understand.
Come on.
Verse 39. So Nicanor went out of Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Beth Horon, where an host out of Syria met him. But Judas pitched in Adasa with 3,000 men, and there he prayed, saying, O Lord, when they that were sent from the king of the Assyrians blasphemed,
come on,
that angel went out.
Thy angel went out, come on,
and smote 184,500 of them.
Yes, he did. Come on.
Even so destroy thou this host before us this day.
Come on.
That the rest may know that he have spoken blasphemy against thy sanctuary, and judge thou him according to his wickedness.
Judge according to his wickedness. Come on.
So the 13th day of the month of Adar.
Come on.
The host joined battle, but Nicanor's host was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. He was
first slain in the battle. So we are in the 13th day of the month Adar, right? Come on.
Now when Nicanor's host saw that he was slain, they cast away their weapons and fled. Then they pursued after them a day's journey from Adasa unto Gazaria, sounding an alarm after them with their trumpets.
Trumpets, come on.
Whereupon they came forth out of all the towns of Judea round about, and closed them in, so that they, turning back upon them that pursued them, were all slain with the sword.
Come on.
And not one of them was left.
And not one of them was left. Come on.
Afterwards, they took the spoils and the prey, and smote off Nicanor's head and his right hand.
They took his head and his right hand, come on,
which he stretched out so proudly, and brought them away, and hanged them up toward Jerusalem.
And hanged them up towards Jerusalem. Come on.
For this cause, the people rejoiced greatly.
They rejoiced greatly. Israel rejoiced. Come on.
And they kept that day a day of great gladness. Moreover, they're ordained to keep yearly this day.
And so yearly, we keep this day as a day of reverence, as a day of gladness, because the Most High showed forth great mercy in delivering Israel from this wickedness. Come on.
Being the 13th of Adar.
Being the 13th of Adar. All right. Adar is a Syrian word for the 12th month. It's not an Israelite word. Okay. Come on.
Thus the land of Judea was in rest a little while.
A little while. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 15. 2 Maccabees 15. start at verse 1.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter, you said 15?
Yeah,
verse,
chapter 15 and verse 1.
okay.
I believe.
2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 1. But Nicanor, hearing that Judas and his company were in the strong place about Samaria.
So now we're going to get a little bit more intricate into the battle portion of it. So as you can see how we read it, in y'all notes, to make sure when you want to read this, you have to read it so that it's going to make sense to you, because you're reading it as the situations happen and transpire. Okay?
Right.
Come on.
Resolved without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day. Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, "Oh, destroy not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to that day, which he that seeth all things have honored with holiness above other days." Then the most ungracious wretch demanded if they were a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the Sabbath day to be kept.
Gosh, you see that?
You see it?
Y'all see that today? Come on.
Good gracious.
That's crazy,
It
man.
is too. Verse 4. And when they said, "There is in heaven a living Lord,
A living power. Come on.
and mighty,
Come on.
who commanded the seventh day to be kept."
So don't let nobody fool you not to keep the Sabbath, the seventh day Sabbath. If you look at your calendar, all right, Sunday begins the first day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Verse 5. Then said the other, "And I also am mighty upon earth, and I command to take arms and to do the king's business."
What?
What?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Come on.
Yet he obtained not to have his wicked well done. So Nicanor, in exceeding pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him.
So now you're gonna get a sense to see how this army and this impossible war is looming upon Israel. Watch this. Come on.
But Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Lord would help him.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen.
So he had faith. Come on.
Against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory.
Expect the victory. That's a different level of faith. The army is pressing up against you. Expect victory. Come on.
And aid,
Come
which
on.
should come unto them from the Almighty. I thought the Lord wasn't dealing with Israel with silence.
They lied to y'all, folks. They lied to everybody. Said, "Oh, you know what? From Malachi to Matthew, the Lord was 400 years of silence."
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Keep listening to these folks.
Exactly.
I'll follow them right into second death.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Verse 9. So comforting them out of the law and the prophets,
Comforting them out of the law and the prophets. Come on.
and withal putting them in mind of the battles that they won afore.
Come on.
He made them more cheerful. And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, showing them therewithal the falsehood of the heathen.
The falsehood of the heathen. Come on.
And the breach of oaths.
And this is what's happening today. The mighty men are returning, and we're showing the falsehoods of the heathen.
And the breach of their oaths too.
Yeah, exactly.
They break all them treaties.
Yep.
Verse 11. Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shields and spears, as with comfortable and good words.
Come on.
And besides that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been so indeed.
Come on.
Which did not little rejoice them.
It rejoiced them greatly when they heard this. Come on.
And this was his vision, that Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and good man, reverent in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue.
Come on.
Holding up his hands, prayed for the whole body of the Jews.
Come on.
This done, In like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs.
There appeared a man, after he hold his hands up and started sending up prayers for his people, there appeared a man with gray hairs. Read.
And exceeding glorious.
Come on.
Who was of a wonderful and excellency majesty.
And an excellent majesty. The look of him was wonderful. Come on.
Then Onias answered, saying, this is a lover of the brethren.
So what he perceived, he said, this is a lover of the brethren. Come on.
Who prayed much for the people.
Come on.
For the holy city, to which Jeremiah is the prophet of God.
So in his mind, he thought that that was Jeremiah. In retrospect, you got to realize that means we had paintings and pictures of our prophets. All right. He thought it was Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. We know it was Christ. Mm-hmm. All right. Because when they was asking Christ asked them, who do you think I am? Who do men say I am?
Some say Jeremiah.
Some was saying Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. So this is how you know that, y'all. Mm-hmm. But come on.
Verse 15. Whereupon Jeremiah is holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and in giving it spake thus, take this holy sword, a gift from God, with the which thou shalt wound the adversaries, thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good, and able to stir them up to valor, and to encourage the hearts of the young men. They determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them a manfully to try the matter by conflict.
So they like, nah, this is going to be tried by conflict. They rushed manfully. They didn't sit back after that. Come on.
Because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger.
Because it was in danger. Jump down to verse 22.
Verse 22. Therefore in his prayer he said after this manner, O Lord, thou didst send thine angel in the time of Ezekiel's, king of Judea, and didst slay in the host and Sennacherib 180,500.
My Hezekiah, come on.
Wherefore, now also, O Lord of heaven, send a good angel before us for a fear and dread unto them.
A good angel, not an evil angel for us. Send a good angel, come on.
And through the might of thine arm let those be stricken with terror that come against thy holy people to blaspheme. And he ended thus.
And he ended us. So the holy people, in order to be the holy people, you got to be keeping commandments.
All day.
Come on.
Verse 25. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs. But Judas and his company encountered the enemies, and with invocation and prayer.
So they was hyped off of songs. Judas then was hyped off of the prayers. Come on.
So that fighting with their hands and praying to God with their hearts.
Come on.
They slew no less than 30 and 5,000 men.
30 and 5,000 men. Just with the joy of the Most High in their heart, sending up prayers while they're putting people to death.
Oh,
can you imagine that? Come on.
For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered.
Through the appearance of God, the manifestation of God brung great cheer. They understood who it was. Come on.
Now, when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness. Then they made a great shout and a noise, praising the Almighty in their own language.
In their own language, come on.
And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and mind.
Come on.
And who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's head.
Come on.
And his hand with his shoulder, and bring them to Jerusalem.
So remember, he was supposed to love. They was loving each other, like, you know, but Judas didn't fall for it because he knew never trust thine enemies. He never forgot that.
Right.
All right, come on.
Verse 31. So when he was there and had called them of his nation together and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that were of the tower and showed them vile Nicanor's head, and the hand of that blasphemer, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty. And when he had cut out the tongue of the ungodly Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls.
Birds, come on.
And hang up the reward of his madness before the temple.
Come on.
So every man prays toward the heaven the glorious Lord, saying, blessed be he that have kept his own place undefiled.
Come on.
He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord.
Come on.
And they ordained all with a common decree in no case to let that day pass without solemnity.
Come on.
But to celebrate.
Come on.
The 13th day of the 12th month, which is in the Syrian tongue, is called
Adar.
Adar.
So that's how we said in the Syrian tongue, that's called Adar. All right.
the day before Mordecai's day.
The day before Mordecai's day. So every year it's before Purim. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow starts Purim. You folks can give gifts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We got things planned. A lot of gifts is shared. All these days is very gracious that the Most High could have destroyed us, but saw fit to allow us to get the victory. Just like now, the Lord could have destroyed us in slavery.
Yes, sir.
Wiped us completely off the map. But he saved his people. If that's the case, then that's where the praise is at.
You better believe
Come
it.
on.
Verse 37. Thus went it with Nicanor, and from that time forth the Hebrews had the city in their power.
Come on.
And here will I make an end.
So he said the Hebrews, but watch this. Watch what's said after this. Come on.
And if I have done well, and as is fitting the story, it is that which I desire.
Come on.
But if slenderly and meanly,
come on,
it is that which I could obtain unto.
Because what he's telling us right here is that he told us, he gave us the record according to how it was at the time. That's why he used the word Hebrew, because the Hebrew-speaking people got the great victory. All right, which is the Israelites. Read on.
Verse 39. For as it is hurtful to drink wine or water alone.
It's hurtful to drink wine or water alone. Come on.
And as wine mingled with water is pleasant.
Come on.
And delighteth the taste.
Come on.
Even so speech, finely framed delighteth.
Finely framed delighted. This is the true words of the Most High. Come on.
The ears of them that read the story, and here should be an end.
Delighted the ears of him that read the story. So if you are delighted by the destruction of Nicanor, all praises to the Most High, because your ears is obtaining to glory. You're hearing the truth. If you are not celebrating this, if you are not seeking in the glory and understanding it, then you are not obtaining to righteousness.
Right.
Because the Most High will surely not get rid of the perfect man, but the wicked, he shall be destroyed. This is a testament to it.
All praises.
All praises to the Most High in Christ. The book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 29.
The book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men.
All praises to the Most High. We could have continued on all the similitudes and everything in this, but you got the gist of the matter. The Most High will stand for righteousness, and it's only a small time right now. You think we're forsaken, but the prayers are going up for the Most High to destroy the wicked and to rebirth the nation. All right? All praises to the Most High in Christ. You brothers and sisters, Lord's will, tune in tomorrow. Lord's will, we'll be going over Purim. All right? That's another high celebration. Mordecai's day. Okay? A great victory that the Most High gave us and gave our forefathers. All right? All praises to the Most High in Christ. Brothers and sisters, enjoy. Toast you up to the game, because the Most High did a great deliverance. All right? All praises to the Most High. With that we say, shalom, y'all.